Today, the most important after the constitutional bodies is non-constitutional bodies. So, constitutional bodies means the constitutional bodies are those which are present in the Constitution of India is called as constitutional bodies. Then what are non-constitutional bodies? Means which are not there in the Constitution, which is not present in the Constitution of India is called as non-constitutional bodies, that we know. Okay, so that means whatever are not present in the original Constitution of India or amended Constitution of India, it is called as non-constitutional body. The non-constitutional bodies are statutory bodies and non-statutory bodies. Again, the non-constitutional bodies is divided into statutory bodies and non-statutory bodies. What are these statutory bodies? Statutory bodies are those bodies which are made by the law of the land, is called as statutory bodies. Means the body which came into existence because of the law, the body which came into existence because of a legislative procedure, the body which came into existence because of a law which has been passed through the parliament or the law which is passed in the state assembly is called as statutory body. Means which is having a legislative backing, which is also called as a legal body is called as statutory body. Whereas non-statutory bodies are those bodies which doesn't have any legal backing, which are not formed because of law, which are not formed because of a legislative procedure are called as non-statutory body. So these non-statutory bodies are also called as executive bodies. The non-statutory bodies is also called as executive bodies. The bodies which are formed because of executive resolution is called as executive bodies, which are also called as non-statutory bodies. The bodies which are formed not by an executive law is called as non-statutory bodies. These statutory bodies which are formed by the law is of two varieties, is of two types. One is called as regulatory body, and is called as quasi-judicial body. Again, this statutory body is again divided into regulatory body and statutory body. What is a regulatory body? Reserve Bank of India is a regulatory body. It is regulating the banking structure of the country. It is regulating the banking system of the country. IRDA, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority, is also a regulatory authority, mainly taking care about insurance sector. PFRD, Pension Fund Regulatory Development Authority, which is also a regulatory authority for the sake of pension funds. Indian Food Safety Standards Authority of India, Indian Food Safety Authority Standard of India, which is also a regulatory body which is regulating the food standards in the country, whether all the foods which are manufactured are according to the safety standards or not. These all bodies are called as regulatory statutory bodies. And next is regulatory quasi-judicial bodies, the bodies which are formed by the regulatory procedure like National Green Tribunal, National Human Rights Commission, National Commission for Protection of the Children, National Commission for Minority, National Commission for Women. These are quasi-judicial bodies, means they have adjudicatory powers. What is adjudicatory powers? They have the power to give penalties. They have the power to punish, is called as quasi-judicial bodies. And the members of the head of the members of these bodies are judges. The members of these bodies are judges, means judicial members are also part of this bodies. Hence it is called as quasi-judiciary body. Two things you have to understand. Number one, quasi-judiciary body means the judicial members are part of this organization, but they are not judiciary, they are not Supreme Court, they are not High Court, they are not district courts, but a separate judicial system where the judges are part of the organization who have the power to punish. give penalties is called as quasi-judicial body. National Green Tribunal, National Commission for Women, National Commission for Minorities. This all comes under quasi-judicial body. This is the structure of non-constitutional body. So, non-constitutional body is divided into statutory bodies and non-statutory bodies, and statutory bodies is divided into regulatory bodies and quasi-judicial bodies. Where are non-statutory bodies? Non-statutory bodies are also called as executive bodies. Example, Niti Aayog. Example, Niti Aayog. Example, National Development Council. These all are executive bodies. The bodies which formed by the executive resolutions are called as non-statutory or executive resolutions. Give me some examples, sir, I can understand properly. I will tell you. Non-constitutional bodies can be further classified into two based on their roles and responsibilities. There are statutory bodies and non-statutory bodies. Statutory bodies, they get the power from the statute. They get the power from the statute. They get the power from the law. They get the power from the legislative procedure is called as statutory bodies. Example, National Investigation Agency. Example, Central Bureau of Investigation. These all are statutory bodies. Non-statutory bodies, they usually get the power from an executive order, GO, by a government order, by executive resolution, when they get the power. That is called as non-statutory body. Niti Aayog, National Development Councils are the examples of this. Some of the examples I will give for the sake of non-constitutional bodies in India, but statutory bodies in India. Statutory bodies means who are non-constitutional. Reserve Bank of India, Securities Exchange Board of India, Insurance Regulatory Development Authority of India, Pension Fund Regulatory Development Authority of India, NABARD, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development, said to be a Small Investment Development Board of India, National Housing Board, Telecom Regulatory Authority of India, TRI, CBFC, Central Board for Film Certification, FSDC, Financial Stability Development Council. These all are statutory bodies, statutory regulatory bodies who are regulating the finance of the country, who are regulating the small investments, small industries, who are regulating pension funds. These all are regulatory statutory bodies. Then what are quasi-judicial bodies, sir? National Human Rights Commission, National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, Competition Commission of India, Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, National Company Law Tribunal, which is formed by Companies Law Act, Companies Act of 2013, Appellate Tribunal for Electricity, Railways Claims Tribunal. If I got an accident, if I want to claim some compensation from the government and the government is not compensating me, I can go to here, Railways Claim Tribunal. Or my land has been acquired by the Indian Railways for the sake of laying of the railway line, but they didn't compensate me. If I approach the government, no one is bothered. Then I can go to this Railways Claims Tribunals. Intellectual Property Right Appellate Tribunal, Banking Ombudsman, and the recent one is National Green Tribunal. These are the non-constitutional statutory quasi-judicial bodies. Non-constitutional statutory quasi-judicial bodies. What is quasi-judicial bodies? Again I am repeating. Who are having two things. Who have the members of this commissions, the members of this bodies are judicial members are present. If judicial members are present in that body, it is called as quasi-judicial body. And who have the power to enforce the law, who have the powers to punish and penalize is called as quasi-judicial body. So in this way, what are non-constitutional, non-statutory bodies means executive bodies. What are those executive bodies? Niti Aayog is the best example. National Development Council is the best example. So this is the proper distinction. This is the proper distinction of statutory and non-statutory bodies. One of the statutory body is Central Board of Investigation, CBI. Central Board of Investigation, CBI is the best example of statutory body. Central Board of Investigation. CBI, Central Board of Investigation. When the CBI came into existence, it came under Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. Delhi Special Police Establishment Act initially. CBI is the premier investigative police agency in India. It mainly investigates into the corruption. It mainly investigates into the serious offences of crime. It mainly investigates into the economic offences of the country. It mainly investigates into those cases which are recommended by the state government to the CBI. It will do investigation on those cases where the High Court or Supreme Court recommend the CBI to do the inquiry. It functions under which department it works? It works under the Superintendence of Department of Personnel Training and Pensions, and which directly falls under the Prime Minister Office. So CBI is directly controlled by the Prime Minister Office. Why? Because it comes under the Department of Personnel Training and Public Grievances. However, for investigation of offences under Prevention of Corruption Act, the superintendent vests with the Central Vigilance Commission. But under Prevention of Corruption Act, whatever the issues comes under, then it will be under CVC. Means Central Vigilance Commission also have the power to order CBI to do inquiry. Means under Prevention of Corruption Act of 2003, the CVC, Central Vigilance Commission, is having exclusive power. Central Vigilance Commission is having exclusive power to give orders to the CBI to do the inquiry. Means not only the Prime Minister Office, not only the state government recommending, not only the Supreme Court and High Court recommending for CBI inquiry, but also under the Prevention of Corruption Act, the CVC have the power to order the CBI to do the inquiry. It also the nodal police agency which coordinate investigation on behalf of Interpol member countries also. So Interpol, if they had any international criminal, if any international criminal is there, the international criminal, if there are some evidences that he is present in India, then Interpol will make direct call to the CBI and the CBI will be helping the Interpol. So what is the agency which is helping Interpol? International police. Interpol is in India is CBI. Central Vigilance Commission, what is the difference between Central Vigilance Commission and CBI? Central Vigilance Commission exclusive bothers only about the corruption cases of central government. CBI, corruption cases as well as criminal cases also. Corruption cases, criminal cases, scams also. But CVC is limited to corruption cases of central government only. Under this, the CVC have the power to order CBI to do inquiry on the corruption cases. Why in news? It is in the news, so you have to know about it. The senior IPS officer, Subodh Kumar Jaiswal, was been appointed as the CBI director. Because of it, it is in the news. It is not a statutory body. It derives its power from Delhi Special Police Establishment Act and comes under Ministry of Personnel. Sir, this is Act no. This is Act no. Pre-independence. It is pre-independence. But recently it got a legislative power. Now it is a statutory body. Recently a special legislation was been made for CBI and now a CBI is a statutory body. Appointment committee for director. What happened, you know? There is a very big criticism on CBI, that CBI is acting like a caged parrot. Means it is a parrot but which is inside the cage. So when it is inside the cage, it will be listening to the master. And who is the master? Central government is the master. And the central government is using CBI for witch hunting. Central government is using CBI for witch hunting. Whoever opposition are there, sending them on CBI. If any our own political party member is there, if he is acting against us, then CBI is being sent. The Supreme Court of India has been criticized, the CBI is working as caged parrot. Then in the new legislation which got legislated with respect to CBI had made a committee to appoint CBI director. A committee will be appointing the CBI director but not Government of India. Now the CBI director will be acting independently or non-independently? Independently. When a committee is appointing, he will act independently. Why? Because he will think that the committee decided, the committee took all considerations and they appointed me as CBI director. But if government is deciding, government will decide barely based upon biasness. Who is my man? For that man only I will be giving the CBI director in charge. What is that committee? Prime Minister as the chairman, leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, CGI or any other Supreme Court judge who is recommended by the CJI. These three members. Three neutral members, Prime Minister of India, leader of opposition as well as CJI or any other Supreme Court judge who is recommended by the CJI. So, a neutral committee is being constituted to appoint the director of CBI. Then 100% this director of CBI is going to act independently. Why? Because such institutions, as I told you in the beginning also, people will not run the country, the institutions will run the country. And the people who are entering into the institutions, they have to work independently. For that, there is a need for a system whereby the appointments and the removal procedure should be very much independent procedures should be there. When there is independent procedures is there, then the individuals who are entering into the institutions, they will be acting independently. When they are acting independently, then the social justice, political justice, economic justice will be ensured. When there is independence, then the major motto, what is present in the preamble? Social justice is preamble. Justice, equality and fraternity is present in the preamble. So, I am focusing on justice. Why? Because the duty of the CBI is not equality, to promote equality. There are other bodies for equality. There are other bodies for fraternity. This is the body to promote justice. How I can give justice? When I am working independently, without any bias, without any prejudices. So, to become the head of the highest investigative agency, the premier investigative agency of the country, the director will be appointed by the Prime Minister, leader of opposition in Lok Sabha, and CJI or the Supreme Court judge appointed on the recommendation of CJI. What are the functions? Investigating cases of corruption against central government employees, investigate breach of economic laws such as excise, import, export, taking up cases of state government having public importance, like Arushi case, Arushi murder case, Unnao murder case, whereby Dalit woman was being killed. So, the cases of public importance also will be taken by CBI. But there are some drawbacks, there are some negatives. What are the negatives? CBI needs prior approval of central government before taking up the inquiry. So, if CBI is going to take any inquiry, CBI is going to do any investigation, it should get the prior approval from central government. Then central government will tell that I am not going to approve. Why? Because he is my close friend. Or CBI will give approval, not only approval, double approval, go and catch him. He is an opposition leader. It is exempted from the provisions of right to information. It is exempted from the provisions of right to information. Drawback. Because of these reasons, the Supreme Court told, the Supreme Court of India has criticized that CBI has caged parrot. CBI is caged parrot, speaking in its master's voice. Whatever the master tells, the CBI will be, the parrot which is in the cage will be telling the same, no? So, what the master want, the parrot will tell. What the government want, the CBI will tell. Caged parrot speaking in its master's voice. It has been used by the government of the day to cover up wrongdoing, keeping coalition alliance in lines and political opponents at bay. You are talking too much in Lok Sabha, shall I send CBI? Okay, fine, I will not talk from tomorrow in Lok Sabha. Loss of credibility, lack of accountability. Why? Because it is investigating only on the prior approval of central government of that. Those are the criticisms of this body. For any statutory body, statutory regulatory body or statutory quasi-judicial body or non-statutory executive bodies, you have to understand the functions, the criticism, that's it. Any specific appointment procedure. Why? Because the CBI director have a specific appointment procedure. Suggestions. Delink CBI from the administrative control of the government. Why? Because it is acting according to the directions given by the central government. Providing statutory status through the legislation equal to that provided to the Comptroller Writer General of India, means give more powers. Already you gave statutory status, but give more statutory status. Give more powers. What type of powers? Independent powers. One good thing you did, that appointment of the CBI director is by a committee. In the same way, delink the government from the CBI. Give exclusive powers, suo motu powers. They themselves can take the cases. But if you see, all the cases which are taken by the CBI, are recommended by the central government or recommended by the state government. If it is recommended by the state government also, it should be approved by the central government. Supreme Court also sometimes recommends, the state governments also sometimes recommend. But the Supreme Court and the High Court, when they recommend for CBI inquiry, central government will not tell anything. If central government tells anything, then again High Court will tell to the central government. So, central government will stop the request given by state governments. If not, almost all the cases of the central government, almost all the cases of Supreme Court recommendations, High Court recommendations will be taken up by CBI. Sir, I want to become CBI officer, sir, what I have to do? General question. Immediately I want to become CBI officer. Tell me, I want to keep my gun behind him and I have to tell that whom you are thinking, I am CBI officer. Only two procedures are there. One is, directly you can enter as a sub-inspector into the CBI through Staff Selection Commission examination, Group B exam. Directly by writing Staff Selection Commission, you can enter into the CBI as a sub-inspector. If not, only by selection, not by recruitment, only by selection, means if you are a person of caliber who had a very great track record, who have a great caliber, then the CBI will be choosing you on deputation. So, any officer can work in CBI through deputation by two ways. They will be selecting, or you can apply through department. They will be selecting you, or else you can apply through department. Then when you apply through the department, the CBI will be looking into your credibility and they will be taking you into CBI. So, the work in the CBI will be based upon the deputation. It is not a permanent job. It will be a deputation for 5 years or for 6 years. If you influence the CBI director, you can be for another 10 years, like that it is. If they think that this person, if he leaves CBI, the CBI is going to lose, then they will not leave you, like that it is. Means performance will make you to be in CBI. Like that you can become a CBI officer. Cases handled by CBI, anti-corruption crimes, economic crimes, special crimes, suo motu cases handled by CBI, but the suo motu cases should be approved by central government. Special crimes should be approved by central government. Economic crimes, anti-corruption crimes should be central government. So what? They themselves cannot take the case, they themselves cannot go into the investigation. They can take the case, but investigation they have to do only with the prior permission of central government. This is the story of caged parrot with master's voice. Next, CVC. Lot of people will be having confusion. What is this CVC? What is their uniform? CBI we saw in lot of movies. We have seen CBI in lot of movies, but never see CVC officer. Who is this CVC? Central Vigilance Commissioner or Central Vigilance Commission. It is just a department. It is just a department of 10 to 15 officers, that's it. It doesn't have a force. So it is just a recommendatory body. It is an advisory body. It is the body which gives duties to the CBI. It is the body which gives advisors to the central government. It is the body which gives dictatums to all the departments. In your department there is corruption is going on, you make these rules. So it's an advisory body, it's a recommendatory body. It is not a force. Central Vigilance Commission will be sitting in the south block of Delhi. It's a department. Mainly it will be finding the mistakes at the level of under secretary and above in the central government. Under secretary and above, if there is any corruption cases, then the CVC will come and do the investigation at that level. If not, it will order the CBI to do the investigation. That is a major function of CVC. But if CVC tell to do the investigation to the CBI, it is binding on the CBI. The CVC bill was passed by both the houses of parliament in 2003 and the president gave its assent on September 2013. Hence the CVC became a statutory body. Hence the CVC became a statutory body. The CVC was set up by the government of India in 1964 on the recommendation of Prevention of Corruption Committee, which is called as Santhanam Committee. On the recommendation of Santhanam Committee recommendations, the CVC came into existence. Prevention of corruption headed by Santhanam to advise and guide central government agencies in the field of vigilances. CVC are conceived to be the apex vigilance institutions, free of control from any executive authority, monitoring all vigilance activities under the central government and advising various authorities in central government, organizations in planning, executing, reviewing and reforming the vigilant work, mainly at the level of central government. Mainly at the level of central government, but not central government officers, means understand this. Central government means at the level of south block and north block. Means like secretariat in state government, central secretariat in Delhi. There only the CVC will there and there only the CVC will be looking into the corruption issues. Down the line the central government officers, if any corruption is there, the CVC will recommend the CBI to do investigation. But in the secretariat it is enough. The CVC will be taking into action. It is a statutory status from 1998 and 2003 as well. Recommendation, that means it got amended. CVC have one chairman and two commissioners. Overall CVC is 3-member body. Overall CVC is 3-member body. And the final decision of CVC is made upon majority decision. The CVC decisions are made upon majority decision. That is Central Vigilance Commission. So major work of Central Vigilance Commission is recommending the CBI to do the investigation and doing the investigation of the central government officers in Central Secretariat above Under Secretary. Functions: to inquire or investigation to be conducted on reference made by the central government, where it is alleged that the public servant has committed an offence under the Prevention of Corruption Act. Yes. To inquire or investigation to be conducted on a reference made by the central government, where it is alleged that the public servant, see here, public servant means mainly at the level of cabinet secretariat, that too if a central government recommends. But CVC also have on the advice of central government as well as suo motu. Means central government can also tell the CVC and CVC can also take on. When CVC is taking on suo motu, there is no requirement of central government permission. But if CBI takes into suo motu, what? Central government permission. So who is more independent? CVC is more independent. That is the reason there is recommendation that the CBI also need to be made on par with CVC. But CVC is limited only to vigilance. CVC is limited only to corruption. But CBI is not just limited to corruption. CBI is limited not only to corruption but also serious crimes, economic crimes, murder cases also, rape cases also. Inquire into any complaint against any officials has committed an offence under the Prevention of Corruption Act of 1988. Members of all India services and serving in the union and group A officers of the central government, specified level of officers of the authorities of the central government. To exercise superintendence over the functioning of the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act and give direction to them for investigation offences under the prevention of, giving direction to whom? CBI. Review the progress of investigation into the Prevention of Corruption Act of 1988. So, one thing you have to understand, it is having the power to investigate into the officers of Under Secretary and above in the Central Secretariat, as well as it is having the power to give orders to the CBI to do into the inquiries, but it is limited to all India officers and limited to central government employees only. That too, again, that too only up to Group A. Below Group A, CVC doesn't have any power. Below Group A, CVC doesn't have any power, CBI will have the power. So, CVC only at the higher levels. And the biggest negative for CVC is it doesn't have its own force. CVC should depend on whom? CBI. But the problem here is, when the CVC asks the CBI to do investigation, CBI is under whom? Central government. CVC is independent. Now, when CVC asks the central CBI to do the investigation, there is a chance that the information might go to central government. There is a chance that the CBI information will go to central government. CVC is independent body. So, here there is a chance that CBI might compromise. So, the investigation which is happening on the orders of CVC might not be neutral. So, hence there is a recommendation that CVC also should have its own force. CVC should have its own force. When I have my own force, I will tell my force to do the work. Then my force will listen to me or other persons, other departments will listen to my department. Like that. Very important non-constitutional bodies we will be discussing. The next important non-constitutional body is National Human Rights Commission. NHRC, National Human Rights Commission. It's a statutory quasi-judicial body, yes or no? It's a statutory quasi-judicial body, yes. It's an independent statutory body started from 1993 as per the provisions of Protection of Human Rights Act 1993, later amended in 2006. It is a watchdog of human rights in the country, that is the rights related to life, liberty, equality and dignity of the individual guaranteed by the Indian Constitution or embodied in the international covenants and enforceable by courts in India. So, the main duty of National Human Rights Commission is, being a human being, what all rights are there and the rights which are present in the Constitution of India and which are present in the international covenants, whether these are reached, whether these are reaching the common man or not. Who is going to check it? Who is going to be the watchdog? NHRC is going to be the watchdog. Means, if my human rights has been violated, I am going into the temple, someone came and stopped me, because of my caste you are not allowed to enter into the temple, then I have the power to go to National Human Rights Commission. If I went to a police station asking for an FIR, but the police personnel is not at all writing the FIR, in spite of my case being genuine, then I can go to NHRC or state HRC. Mainly for the protection of human rights. Mainly for the protection of human rights. It was established in conformity with the Paris Principle, adopted for the promotion and protection of human rights in Paris, and endorsed by the General Assembly of United Nations. What are the functions of NHRC? NHRC have the power to take the complaint suo motu. By watching TV, somewhere in TV, one person is catching dead body and travelled for 40 kilometers. Then NHRC can take the case suo motu. What the ambulance is doing, what the state administration is doing, what the police is doing. So, suo motu cases can be taken by the NHRC. However, on the complaints, so NHRC can act. So NHRC is a grievance redressal mechanism, yes or no? I am giving complaint means grievance means I have some problem. Grievance redressal mechanism. Two things. NHRC is a grievance redressal mechanism as well as a sumoto. On sumoto basis also NHRC have the power to take the complaints. For example, some tragedy happened here. No one bothered, no police came, no administration came, nothing happened. It was been telecasted in the news channel and the news is been seen by the NHRC chairperson. Then he can directly take the case and he can give a call to the DGP and call him to take the case upon. So sumoto also, without complaint also, NHRC can happen. But now you tell me, whether the Supreme Court can take the case as sumoto, whether the High Court can take the case as sumoto, whether the district courts can take the case as sumoto. Sumoto means according to my wish. No judiciary is allowed to take the complaint sumoto. Compulsory there should be a complaint. Evidence should be there that this person has been complained. At least a postcard should be there for a complaint. That is the reason the postcard itself became a public interest litigation under the Justice P.N. Bhagavati. But NHRC can act sumoto. That is the difference between the judicature of the country and the NHRC. The difference of NHRC is NHRC can act sumoto. Somewhere a dowry death happened. And no FIR filed and no arrest was been happened. NHRC has been noticed this in the newspaper. NHRC can act sumoto. It has the power of interference in judicial proceedings involving any allegations of violation of human rights. It can visit any jail, yes, another function. Different function. NHRC have the power to inquire into, study into the functioning of the prisons, jails, whether they are humanly good, whether the toilets are good, whether mosquitoes are there, how the conditions of the jails are there. NHRC will be visiting the jails and giving the report to the government for the betterment of the prisons. The welfare of the prisoners is under NHRC. See, a person who is in jail, who will take care about him? No one will take care. So NHRC is given the responsibility of taking care about prisoners. It can visit any jail or any other institution under the control of the state government to see the living conditions of the inmates and to make recommendations thereon. It can review the safeguards provided under the constitution. What are all the constitutional safeguards provided to the individual? It will be cross-checked by NHRC. So basically, 4 powers. Number 1, all the constitutional safeguards and international covenants which are part of protection of human rights, will be under the direct control of NHRC. Sumoto cases will be taken by NHRC. Jails conditions will be inquired by NHRC. As well as the final, it can review the safeguards provided under the constitution or any law for the protection of the human rights and can recommend appropriate remedial measures. Sir, everything is good, sir. But I am listening one word in this particular slide, or when you are explaining, I am listening only one word which is called as what is that? Recommended. So these all are recommendations made to the governments. These are all the recommendations made to the governments. They doesn't have enforceable power. They doesn't have the power to enforce. They just can recommend the government for the necessary steps need to be taken. See, NHRC does not have any mechanism of investigation. It can recommend. You government, you do this. You government, you do this. It is recommendatory to the government, but it cannot enforce upon. It doesn't have any mechanism for investigation. Means what? This is a previous question. Nhrc doesn't have the teeth. Critically examine. No mechanism for investigation. No power to enforce it. No power to give recommendations. No power to give punishments. It can call upon. It can summon. The person who committed crime, he will come to the Nhrc. It will do the enquiry and it will submit the report to the government. So final judgment cannot be given by NHRC. It can go to the jail and see the toilets. See the toilets, how they are unhygienic. How the toilets are unhygienic. It's not at all good. But it doesn't have the power to give funds. Take this money and clean all the toilets. So it's recommendatory in nature. Lokpal and Lokayukta. Lokpal and Lokayukta. After a lot of struggle, a fun thing I will tell you. After a lot of struggle by Nhrc and part of him, Arvind Kejriwal, they worked a lot. And they got Lokpal and Lokayukta Act also. The Lokpal and Lokayukta Act came into existence because of the works of Anna Hazare and Arvind Kejriwal. But you won't believe, up to now, no Lokpal was being appointed by the central government. A very ruckus happened in the country when everyone is asking about Lokpal. Yes, we want Lokpal, Lokpal. If you are in 2011, 2012, the demands were been very huge. Government made Lokpal and Lokayukta. Means government made the policy. But again, not a single person is worried. You made Lokpal and Lokayukta without a Lokpal. You told, I want house, and the government constructed the house. But no one is living in the house. Then what is the purpose of having the house? We want house, government constructed the house. Now no one is living in the house. Then what is the purpose of house? Now the people should ask for getting the permission from the government so that the people will live in it. But no Lokpal was been appointed. Then what is the purpose of having a Lokpal body? National level ombudsman is called as Lokpal. State level ombudsman is called as Lokayukta. The Lokpal would deal with the complaints against ministers, secretaries at central and state levels. Not only ministers, not only secretaries, the Prime Minister of India is also under the ambit of Lokpal. The ministers, the secretaries, the ministers of the state, the secretaries of the state, and the chief ministers and the prime ministers are part of Lokpal. Whereas Lokayukta deals with the complaints against other specified higher officials. Judiciary is outside the purview of Lokpal and Lokayukta. This you have to know. So at the central level it is called as Lokpal, at state level it is called as Lokayukta. Function क्या है उसका? It is a multi-member body that consists of one chairman and maximum of 8 members. One chairman and maximum of 8 members. In that 8 members, 50% of them compulsory should be. In that 8 members, 50%, minimum 50% should be from SC, ST, OBC, minority, women. The chairperson of the Lokpal should be either the former Chief Justice of India or the former Judge of Supreme Court or an eminent person with impeccable integrity and outstanding ability, having special knowledge and expertise of minimum 25 years in the matters relating to anti-corruption policy, public administration, vigilance, finance including insurance and banking law and management. 25 years of experience, A CJI or a former Supreme Court judge or an eminent personality who is having impeccable integrity, he can become the chairperson. And the members, minimum 50% of the members should be, out of the maximum 8 members, half will be the judicial members and minimum 50% of the members will be from SC, ST, OBC, minority and women. So from 8 members, 4 will be the judicial members, another 4 will be from non-judicial members. The judicial member of the Lokpal, either a former judge of the Supreme Court or a former Chief Justice of a High Court. So very rigid, very strong body, the Lokpal. Means anyone booked means he will not go out almost without a clean sheet. Means with a clean sheet. He cannot go with a clean sheet. Why? Because 25 years of impeccable integrity. 4 judicial members, 4 non-judicial members, and the chairperson is CJI or a former judge or a person of eminent judicial knowledge of 25 years of experience. If such a strong body, then 100% at the highest level, the corruption will be reduced. But policy is good. The act is good. The members are very good. The appointment procedure is independent procedure, but appointments are not happening. The system is good, the idea is good, the policy is good, but the implementation is zero. Not a single Lokpal was been appointed as of now. Lokpal jurisdiction and powers. Jurisdiction of Lokpal includes Prime Minister, Ministers, Members of Parliament, Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D officers and officials of central government. Jurisdiction of Lokpal included Prime Minister except on allegations of corruption relating to international relations, security, the public order, atomic energy and space. The Lokpal does not have jurisdiction over ministers and MPs in the matter of anything said in Parliament or vote against there. Its jurisdiction also includes any person who has been in charge, director, manager or secretary of anybody set up by the Central Act. Since the Lokpal and Lokayukta Act came in 2013, was passed by Parliament, but not a single Lokpal has been appointed till date, indicating the lack of political will. Group A, Group B, Group C, Group D, everyone. CVC was limited, CBI was been limited, but the Lokpal is. But there is a criticism. If the Lokpal thinks that the corruption happened, to investigate, again they have to depend on CBI. So only one force is there. For that force, multiple organs are giving duty. Research analysis wing will give, CVC will give, central government will give, Supreme Court will give, High Court will give, state government will give, now Lokpal will. That is the reason CBI is called as overburdened body also. That is the reason for every case only 3-4 officers will be there. Big cases only 3-4 officers. Directly a level of joint director will be taking care of the case. A joint director will be taking care of the case. For small cases or big cases, whatever it may be. Because the personnel are less, works are more. And every case will take about 8 months. Why? Because the investigation should be foolproof. The same story with Lokayukta also. States without Lokayukta, Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, West Bengal, Odisha, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, they doesn't have Lokayukta. Not only Lokpal, Lokayuktas are also absent. The system is good, the idea is good, the principles are good, the policy is independent, but what is what? Absence of kya? Lack of political will to appoint the Lokpal. Whether the people kept quiet, whether opposition kept quiet, they will ask, appoint Lokpal, what government is telling, we didn't got appropriate person to appoint as Lokpal. We didn't got appropriate person to appoint as Lokpal. That is the reason which is been given by the central government. See, it should be very careful. If Lokpal The decision of the Lokpal is final. If Lokpal orders an investigation on Prime Minister of India, opposition will get a huge credibility. Why? Because the Prime Minister is subjected to investigation. In international arena, the India will become low. So, very important body this is Lokpal. You know, when the Lokpal was being decided for 6 months, they didn't decide it only because of one point, whether I have to add Prime Minister or not. Whether I have to add Prime Minister or not. The next body is Law Commission of India. The next body is executive body. This is Law Commission of India, which will be recommending to the government necessary legislation amendments required to change the laws, to recommend the laws. Very frequently, for every 4 years, 5 years, one law commission will be constituted to check into the laws, to make the law more dynamic. Law Commission of India is neither a constitutional body nor a statutory body. It is an executive body established by an order of the Government of India. Its major function is to work for legal reforms. The commission is established for a fixed tenure and works as an advisory body to the Ministry of Law and Justice. So, it will be recommending change this law, change this law. That is the reason for all the topics we will be getting points. This is the recommendation of Law Commission, this is the recommendation of Law Commission. Its membership primarily comprises of legal experts. The Law Commission, or in a reference made to it by the central government or sumoto, undertakes research in law and reviewing of existing laws in making reforms therein and enacting new legislation. So, mainly it will recommend the government. Mainly with respect to having legal reforms. The next executive body is Niti Aayog. The Prime Minister is the chairperson. Governing Council consists of Chief Ministers of the states and Lieutenant Governors of the UTs. Regional councils are formed, members are full-time members. This is the composition of Niti Aayog. Objectives: mainly fostering cooperative federalism and competitive federalism. Formulation of plans at village level. Special attention to sections of risk who are backward and marginalized. Economic policies and national security policies are made. Feedback for constant innovative improvements. Partnership with national and international think tanks. Creating a knowledge base and innovation hub. Platform for resolution for intersectoral and interdepartmental issues. State of the art resource center for research of good governance, and focus on technology upgradation and capacity building. This is the objectives of Niti Aayog. Mainly, the big target for the Niti Aayog is two things. Number one, cooperative federalism. Number two, it is a think tank. I will tell you two major differences between Planning Commission and erstwhile Planning Commission and today's Niti Aayog. Erstwhile Planning Commission have the power to allocate the budget. See, they are having the power to allocate the budget, means they are powerful, no? Planning Commission have the power to allocate the budget. Niti Aayog is only recommendatory in nature. And it recommends based upon the think tank. It's a think tank, just it's a brainstorming session. One. Number two, Planning Commission have the power to make a policy. Niti Aayog is just a think tank. They will just recommend to the government. So, Niti Aayog is recommendatory body and Planning Commission is policy making, budget allocating, implementation body. And the other big decision is, or other big difference is, Planning Commission is centralized. All the powers are vested in Planning Commission. Niti Aayog is not at all a centralized body or decentralized body. It is just a think tank. Niti Aayog is based on 7 pillars of effective governance: pro-people, proactivity, participation, empowering, inclusion of all, equality, transparency. These are the 7 effective governance pillars given by Niti Aayog. National Green Tribunal. 2 points are very important. National Green Tribunal is a quasi-judicial body. National Green Tribunal is a quasi-judicial body which have the members from the judiciary and which also have the power to give orders, judgments, penalties. But the only difference is National Green Tribunal will not only follow Indian Penal Code, but also follow natural justice. It also follow natural justice, means circumstantial evidences, circumstantial judgments will be given. That is the reason. I will give one example and I will explain you. For example, Hussain Sagar. Are you thinking no one went to National Green Tribunal? Oh, lot of people went. Then why there is no judgment against Hussain Sagar pollution? Why? Because it might be the Ganesh immersion, it might be the drainage water. The state government doesn't have other alternative, doesn't have the resource to restructure the flowing of Musi water against Hussain Sagar. So, the National Green Tribunal, if they give judgment, the state government is asking that for your judgment we want fund. Give me the fund, 100% I will stop it. Fund problem. Why? Because it nearly requires 1 lakh crore to restructure it. Why? Because land acquisition will happen. I have to change the direction. Houses are there. In between houses are there. If I want to remove the houses, it is located in the center of the places. They will go for court, again Land Acquisition Act. So, NGT is also confused to what to give the judgment against Hussain Sagar. DRDO is one of the executive body. DRDO is a executive body which is working for the defense research and development. All the defense research, all defense production will be happening in DRDO. This is also one of the executive body. The administrative control of Ministry of Defense. These all are statutory, most important, economics to the point, SEBI to the point. These all are, that's it, not exam point of view. Nhrc we discuss. National Commission for Women, National Commission for Minorities. Mainly they are working for women and protection of their rights which are given by the Constitution. Mainly statutory commissions, statutory bodies and non-statutory bodies you have to read more when they are in newspaper. For example, I will tell you why. When I was writing my mains in 2013, there was an issue between SEBI and IRDA with respect to ULIP, Unit Linked Insurance Policy, ULIP. Unit Linked Insurance Policy. What is that? Means I am buying insurance policy. So, the money which is entering into the LIC, the money they are investing in stock exchange. Getting my point? I am buying an insurance policy, so I am monthly I am paying the premium. What the LIC is doing? LIC is using the money in investing in stock exchange. Then I complained, then the people complained on the insurance sector, my money why you are using for investing in stock exchange? Why? Because now this money which is under the control of IRDA, now when you deposit it with stock exchange, who will be the regulator for it? SEBI. So, if stock exchange fallen down, I lost money, then whom I should ask? Whether I should ask with IRDA or whether I should ask with SEBI. Why? Because whatever the policies we make, when it goes to the government will give clear direction that I am investing here. But till unit linked insurance policy, they never put the insurance money into the stock exchange. This is the first time they put the insurance money into the stock exchange. So, the money is very volatile in stock exchange. So, if I lose money, whether I have to ask IRDA or whether I have to ask SEBI. Why? Because when advertising ULIP policy, they told that you will be getting your premium amount in the form of insurance after your death or any accident. Not only what we promised, but also with respect to the benefit which we are getting from stock exchange. So, you are double way you are getting benefited. The insurance policy amount you will be getting and more amount you will get. Why? Because the same amount I am using for Stock exchange. So it was attracting the public to invest in ULIPs. Are you getting my point? So it was doing advertisement that your money is not only with insurance, anyhow you will be getting the insurance if you die or if there is any health problem, but you will be getting more money. Why? Because I am investing your money in stock exchange. In order to get more public. Then the public, what they did, they went for Supreme Court asking that whether something happens to my money, whether I have to go for IRDA, why? Because it's a regulatory authority, or whether I have to go with SEBI. So there is a conflict between both of them. IRDA is telling that if money comes down, falls down, then SEBI will pay you. SEBI told, why I will pay? It's a volatile market. When you are getting the money, you will enjoy. When you lose, you have to lose. But you cannot promise. But what IRDA is telling, what LIC is telling? LIC is promising. Are you getting my point? LIC is promising that minimum guarantee you will get. But SEBI will not promise. SEBI will tell that everything is driven by market forces. So there is a conflict. So that type of, at that time 2 years, 2013 and 2014, there was a question on IRDA and SEBI. Like that, what is the current affair? That regulatory body, that quasi-judicial body, that non-constitutional body, you have to emphasize upon. This CBI, CVC, these all are very important. Again in internal security, NIA will be discussed. In governance sectors, again important, like Food Safety Standards Authority of India, FSSAI. On every packet, chip packet, there will be FSSAI will be there, logo will be there. It is safe to buy it. But now it is duplicated. We can also print it because of technology.